Okay, this is the fourth club history in the NRL we're doing, and we're doing the West Tigers in this video. Now, they're actually a joint venture club, which basically means two clubs joined together with 50-50 share options for their members to form a new club. And the argument was there were too many teams in Sydney in the 90s to be sustainable. That argument still persists today, and has been persisting for quite some time. Now, the Balmain Tigers, one of the more successful teams in rugby league history in Australia, joined forces with the Western Suburb Magpies, one of the worst sports teams in history. They have a shocking record. I'm doing a video on the Western Suburb Magpies and how bad they were before the merger in '99. They were terrible. They were so bad. But because of the Western Suburb Magpies and Balmain Tigers merging as a joint venture club, the West Tigers play their home games at two separate stadiums. Plus, they're also going to be playing some home games at the brand new Western Sydney Stadium as well. But the Campbelltown Stadium and the Leichhardt Oval is where they're predominantly played their home games on a regular season. Their current coach is Michael Maguire, and their current captain is Moses Mbai, formerly of the Canterbury Bulldogs, and one of the few players in NRL history to have ancestors from Africa. Yeah, Moses Mbai, very interesting character, and as I say, one of the few players to have African ancestry. Put that in your pub quiz. Now, their regular seasons, let's have a look at how they've done overall, shall we? 2000, they finished 10th overall. Solid start, not outstanding, weren't expected to do much considering that they've brand new, they've had to merge two clubs together, merge two squads together. Well, 6 players came over from the Magpies, the rest of the squad were the Tigers squad, so they had a solid team to build around, but not outstanding. 2001, they finished 12th, so average. 2002 and 2003, 13th both seasons, so you wouldn't have expected that they're going to win the grand final within 2 years, would you? 2004, they finished 9th, so there's some hope they're going to get better. A good foundation. So they've not been great, they've not been terrible, they've been average. 2005 comes along, the season that all West Tigers fans remember with great fondness. It's their first finals appearance and it's their only premiership. They weren't expected to do this. This was not, looking at their previous history and where they've been, this was at the start of the season, in 2005, if you were to place a bet, the odds were huge. This was the most unexpected grand final win of any grand final win ever. True underdogs, the little team that could, and they did. But they finished 4th overall in the league that year, so they weren't even the best team in the regular season. They don't have a minor premiership to their name either. Then there comes a 4-year period with them not being in finals again. They're 11th in 2006. They slip out of the top half of the table. 2007, they're 9th. They will come 9th a lot in their history. 2008, they're 10th. So they're meandering at mid-table again. So could 2005 have been a one-off season? Could they have overachieved? Most likely they overachieved in 2005, absolutely. But they hit form at the right time, they had a good team unity, and when you've got players like Benji Marshall and Robbie Farah stepping up, it's going to help. 2009, they're 9th again, so they're back, nearly there. They're nearly a finals team. They're a solid mid-table team, not outstanding, and again, not much is expected. People believe that was a one-off season. 2010 and 2011, however, proved that wasn't a one-off season and they could, be a regular finals team. 2010, they finished 3rd, their highest ever league regular season finishing position. And in 2004, they finished 4th again, the same position they finished in the table when they won the grand final in 2005. So in a 6-year period, they get into finals football 3 times in 7 seasons, which is not a shocking record looking at other teams as well. But that's their only appearances in their entire history in finals. So it's not a great history. Even though they've won the grand final, it's not great. I was actually surprised by how few times they actually got to finals football when I did my research. I was really surprised that they've only made it 3 times. I was not expecting that. I was expecting a bit more around the period they won and the mid-2000s. I was expecting more finals appearances, and it just hasn't happened. And there's various reasons for that. Now, the period of uncertainty from 2012 to 2018, I'm going to call that, because they've had 2 financial restructurings off the field and financial concerns and calls from some in the media and fans of rugby league as a whole to move the team out of Sydney. It's an ironic full circle that we've gone in 20 years. But 2012 they finished 10th, 2013 their joint worst ever league position of 15th, still have not got the wooden spoon, I will hasten to add. 2014 they're 13th, 2015 they're 15th again in 2015. 2016 they're 9th, so there's hope we could possibly make finals again. 2017 goes, nah, you're not having finals, you're finishing 14th. And 2018, last season, they finished 9th again. Now, one thing I have noticed, in this period of uncertainty off the field, on the field, they start their seasons really strongly. In 2015 and 2016 especially, they came out the blocks in both seasons and won really well in the opening rounds, and then they fell off a cliff. Also in this period, some of their star players have left. Mitch Moses, James Tedesco, Aaron Woods, in this period have all left the club. Gone. Benji Marshall has come back. Robbie Farah has come back after leaving. But a lot of their younger star players have had to leave the club for various reasons. They've moved on. They couldn't re-sign them. Fucking hell. They couldn't re-sign them to long-term contracts. Mitch Moses was a big one as well. Aaron Woods was another big one. Also, in 2014, they had to financially restructure off the field, and 2016. And it was at this point that the calls for the NRL to look at the position of West Tigers in the Sydney area and possibly move the team out of Sydney were raised. The same arguments are appearing now that appeared then, that there were too many teams in Sydney in first grade at professional level, and those calls haven't gone away. They still persist. Even though there's been 2 joint venture clubs formed, the argument still persists that there are too many teams in the Sydney area to be sustained by professional rugby league. And the calls are move the team to Perth, move a team to the South Island of New Zealand, move a team outside into the rural, the smaller cities of New South Wales, move another team to the state of Victoria, for example, another team in Melbourne, another team in Brisbane. A lot of these calls about there being too many teams in Sydney have resurfaced in the last few years that were there 20 years ago. So we've gone full circle. Now, the team's history is less successful than I thought it would be. Overall, they've never had a wooden spoon. So that's something. But they like finishing 9th a lot. That's their most common league finishing position is 9th place. That's the one position below finals, and in 2016 they narrowly missed out to the Gold Coast Titans. That was the season that the Parramatta Eels had a 12-point deduction for a salary cap breach. Now, had the Parramatta Eels not had that points deduction, they finished 10th. The Gold Coast Titans would finish 9th, and the league would be different. That was the nearly season that they could have got to finals and possibly done something. It didn't happen. But there's been too many seasons where they've just not performed and not been great. 2015, they were one of 4 or 5 clubs that were all battling to be the worst team in the league. I think the Newcastle Knights got the wooden spoon that year, but West Tigers weren't much better. I think they got 4 extra points or 2 extra points in the ladder. They weren't much better. They were very close to getting a wooden spoon in 2015. So on the field, they haven't been the most successful team. And off the field, especially in this period between 2012 and 2018, there have been financial concerns and financial issues going forward, and the structure of the club having to be restructured off the field has happened. Hopefully, we see some more finals football in the future and some more premierships. And ironically, I'm surprised they haven't had a wooden spoon. So I'm going to look at trotting up the wooden spoons and who's got the most. The Gold Coast Titans have got a wooden spoon. The Melbourne Storm have actually, because they had titles stripped and had to play for nothing, have a wooden spoon. I believe Canberra have some wooden spoons. These guys don't. So that's interesting. But for the most of their history, they haven't been a great side. And if you look at the history of the clubs that merged to bring them to life, the Balmain Tigers, historically very successful, had some money issues at times. The Western Suburb Magpies, one of the worst teams in professional sports history, and I will do a video on the Western Suburb Magpies and how bad they were up until 1999, because they hold a record of the worst regular season in history. And I think their for and against record for wins and losses is nothing enviable that any team, I think, who plays professional sport in any league in the world will want. But there we go. That's a brief look at the history of West Tigers. And I'll have some more videos on the history of the NRL teams in due course. If you're a West Tigers fan, have I done the West Tigers justice? Probably not. But this is a brief history. I'm not going to go into every single player, every single captain, every single coach, because we'll I don't have a rough room on the board, and B, the video will be like an hour long, and I don't think you guys are interested in watching an hour long video of me rambling on about an Australian rugby league team. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your thoughts below. And what's the next club history you want to see? I'll be very interested to see what club histories you want me to do next. I've done Canberra. I've done Melbourne. I've done Gold Coast. And now we've done West Tigers. So what's the next NRL club history you want me to do? And I'll look into it. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your thoughts below. And I'll have some more videos for you soon.